highlight of the SO British Touring Car Championship so far has been the spirited jousting of the BMWs. The race-long duel at Silverstone between Frank Sittner, leading here, and his teammate James Weaver thrilled the crowd and put a few thousand on the gate at Thruxton. It also left Sittner as close to rolling the BMW as he's ever been. In practice for round 3 at Thruxton, he completed the job. Anxious to match the time of Weaver, Sittner rolls at Allard, and suddenly the prospect of a repeat of Silverstone's enthralling contest has receded. Sittner, the reigning touring car champion, headed back to the pits, followed by a car which had survived comparatively unscathed, but was clearly in no condition for the race, which was barely a couple of hours away. So Sittner had to opt for the spare car, a relatively unknown quantity. There was also the problem that to run the spare, the championship rules, as applied to the packed grid, required another car to drop out. Other runners had problems, and with minutes to go to the start, Jeff Kimber-Smith decided his Class D Toyota wouldn't make it, and Sittner was rescued.
Jeff Kimber-Smith's got timing on this one. So we're in, yes. You got your helmet? Yes, in the car.
So Sittner takes his usual place among the Class B BMWs, hanging off the boot lid of James Weaver. But ahead were the Class A Sierras, and on pole position, inevitably, was Andy Rouse, alongside Tim Harvey. Chris Hodgetts and the second Caliber Sierra of Guy Edwards on the second row. 17 laps of Thruxton, and Murray Walker is the commentator.
Almost at the end of the parade lap before the rolling start on Thruxton's 2.4-mile lap. 34 starters, 4 classes, and up front, it's the Ford Sierra Cosworths of number 1, Andy Rouse, and Tim Harvey, number 7. Over the line, and Lawrence Bristow comes sprinting through from the 4th row, drops back as they go into the first right-hander, and it's Andy Rouse leading. Chris Hodgetts in second place, Harvey with him, and Dave Brodie up into 4th position, up to the complex. And it's Andy Rouse, Chris Hodgetts in the red Sierra in second place, and Brodie challenging Harvey for 3rd position. Now up to Seagrave, the fast right-hander, 3rd gear, 80 miles an hour. No change at the front. Then on to Noble, the left-hander. And that's Andy Rouse. His car rocking on its suspension at full power. Behind Andy Rouse, it's still Chris Hodgetts in second place. Then Harvey and Brodie. Look for Dave Brodie in the white Sierra. There he is with Rob Gravitt, the winner at Alton Park, number 21, in 5th position. Now out of Village, down to Church Corner, 130 miles an hour. It's Rouse leading, Hodgetts up behind him, then Harvey, Brodie in the white Sierra, Rob Gravitt and Guy Edwards in the twin car to Andy Rouse's leading Sierra in 6th place. Through the chicane, it's Rouse leading, Chris Hodgetts in second place, and then there's a 3-second gap into Allard. Rouse with Hodgetts tight up behind him. Into the chicane. This is the rest of the field coming through. The Toyota Corolla last. And he goes off. It's Leslie Lydiard going off in the Toyota Corolla. Rejoining. And at the complex, Hodgetts is giving Rouse a really hard time. Terrific scrap for 3rd position. And Carl Jones nearly goes off, taking Newman. Now we're in car with the British champion Frank Sittner. Now, do you remember Silverstone? Well, that's James Weaver's BMW in front again, so don't go away, folks. 140 miles an hour on the sweeping curves at Thruxton. James Weaver leads Class B, and number 33, Frank Sittner, is in 16th place behind 14 Sierras and 1 BMW. And at the club chicane, 2nd gear, 70 miles an hour, number 1, Andy Rouse leads, just ahead of Hodgetts. Now the right tyres can win this race, and they're on a mixture of Pirellis, Dunlops and Yokohamas. And now we're in car with Guy Edwards in his Ford Sierra, over 500 horsepower. It'll do over 150 miles an hour. He is in 6th place. Ahead of him, Rod Gravitt. And ahead of him, Dave Brodie and Tim Harvey. And watch the big white needle on the turbo gauge. Andy Rouse Rouse leads, edging away from Chris Hodgetts. Absolutely flat out. Behind Hodgetts, Brodie is up into third position. Brodie in the White Sierra is up into third, ahead of Harvey fourth, Gravett fifth, and a terrific scrap between Edwards and Bristow. There they are for sixth position. And this is Guy Edwards, 140 miles an hour. He's catching Rob Gravett. Easing up alongside the red and white Sierra. He's going to take him at the chicane. No, he's not. Gravett moves across, takes the racing line, goes into the right, into the left. It's Hodgetts second, Brodie third, Harvey fourth, Gravett, Edwards, Bristow, and just 5 seconds covering the first 7. And Guy Edwards is going for fifth position inside Rob Gravett. Is he going to stay there? Yes, he is. He goes through. Guy Edwards moves up into fifth position. And Bristow is catching Rob Gravett. Look for Bristow in the blue Sierra. Up to the complex. Hodgetts is second, Brodie third. Harvey there, he is fourth. Then Guy Edwards, Gravett, Bristow. There's Edwards. And Guy Edwards, ex-Grand Prix driver, is really motoring. Now he's after the blue Sierra in front of him. Fourth place, Tim Harvey, with Brodie and Hodgetts ahead of Harvey. And at Village, at 140 miles an hour, Dave Brodie on the left is going to take second place. He's going to take Hodgetts number 15. And Dave Brodie goes through. Masterly bit of driving. And look, he is fairly racing away from Chris Hodgetts. Down to the chicane. And at the chicane, Tim Harvey is going past Chris Hodgetts. Now, no disrespect to Brodie and Harvey, but something must be wrong with Hodgetts Sierra. And yes, it is. Edwards, Gravett and Bristow are closing right up on Hodgetts. So, on now, up to Allard. Guy Edwards pulls out. He's passing Hodgetts. Great drive by Guy Edwards, number 10. And at the complex, the order is Andy Rouse, absolutely out on his own. Dave Brodie is in second position, and there is Brodie. Harvey is up into third place. Edwards is fourth. Hodgetts is down to fifth position in the red Sierra. Then it's Bristow in sixth position, and Rob Gravett in seventh place. In car now with Chris Hodgetts, fifth position. Edwards ahead. And that's Bristow. Lawrence Bristow on the right, passing Hodgetts to take fifth position, and Andy Rouse is slowing up. That is the race leader. He's been passed by Brodie. Harvey and Edwards pass him. Oh my goodness. Now there's Bristow going up to fourth. And in a moment, yes, Hodgetts and Gravett go past fifth and sixth, and Andy Rouse is out of the race. So now, 44-year-old Dave Brodie from Hurley, there he is, leads. He's won over 200 races in 26 years. And Harvey and Edwards, second and third, and Guy, we're with him now, is really on his way. Allard Corner, 100 miles an hour. He's catching the British sports car champion, Tim Harvey. Look at that turbo gauge. Into the complex, right up with Harvey. And Harvey's teammate, Lawrence Bristow, in the second blue Sierra, is catching Guy. He's made a fine recovery after a jump start. And Andy Rouse abandoned his Sierra. It's a very poor 1989 for Andy. But Dave Brodie, who's concentrated on the handling of his car rather than speed's got a nice cushion. There's the battle for second, third and fourth. Tim Harvey, Guy Edwards, Lawrence Bristow. In car with Edwards. He can see second place ahead. He's inching up on Harvey at the approach to the chicane. He's got the momentum. It's all going to be down to braking as they come into the chicane. Guy Edwards is going through. But he's lost it. Look at the steering wheel. Guy Edwards goes sideways. Harvey goes on. Bristow moves up into third position. Guy Edwards goes down to fourth, and that will surely have rooted his tyres. And now, number 10, Guy Edwards, down to fourth position, is chasing Lawrence Bristow. And back at the chicane, the class-leading BMWs are at it again. Number 32, James Weaver, leads Class B. He's just ahead of his teammate, Frank Sidner. They're 12th and 13th behind David Pinkney's Pink Sierra. At the complex, Silverstone ended in harsh words when Sytner rammed Weaver, and he's very close to James again. This is going to be really something. Sytner edging up to Weaver all the time. They've both got to take pick this Sierra, and there's a resigned looking Chris Hodgins, who could have won here just as he could have won at Silverstone. And it's obviously an engine problem that's taken the ever cheerful Chris out.
The car was understeering very badly, and a lot of cars came past, and what has happened is the hose has gone, and it was just putting water onto the left front tyre, so terminal understeer plus overheating, so live to fight another day.
And there's a fighter in the third of these three cars. Championship leader John Cleland from Peebles in the astounding 220 horsepower Vauxhall Astra. 18th in the race, way ahead in his class and passing John Morris's BMW. And this is the car that's going to be very difficult to beat in the overall championship. It goes like smoke, and John won the brutal Thunder Saloons Championship 3 years running, but he's waving people through. He's waved the BMWs past, and I think I spoke too soon. He's slowing down. They're going past him all the time. Cleland looks in the mirror. He's obviously unhappy about something, the way he waves his hand. He's definitely going a lot slower. And sure enough, there's the problem. Left front tyre punctured, and Cleland is coming into the pits to change it. Well, that's cruel luck, because he was leading his class easily. But it's still close between the BMWs in Class B. James Weaver still just ahead, up to Allard, 100 miles an hour. In car with Frank Sytner, the British champion of 1988. But James Weaver's won both the two races so far this year, and if he can stay ahead of Sytner, he'll be the overall championship leader. So, out of the complex, and Sytner comes up along the inside of Weaver, but you won't get through there, Frank, because Weaver's got the inside line on the right, and he keeps it, and he keeps the lead. On to Seagrave. Now to Noble, and we're in car with Cleland, and you can hear the tyre problem. Coming out of the chicane as Cleland clears it, Tony Crudgeton spins. And Crudgeton has already put up the fastest lap in Class D in his Toyota Corolla, 96 miles an hour, rejoins the race. And Guy Edwards spins in fourth position. And I suspect that his tyres are shot after that problem earlier on. Now, this is an in-car replay with Guy Edwards into the chicane. Bristow and Harvey ahead. Out of it. And Guy Edwards loses it, full left lock, but the back of the car spins round, and that's the same place as Tony Crudgeton lost it. Maybe there's oil on the circuit. Anyway, Guy rejoins in 8th place onto the complex. There he is, trying to make up time, and he's lost it again. Now that must be tyres. And Guy Edwards rejoins the course well down the race now. He rejoins with Gravitt and Walker and Jerry Marney. Rob Gravitt, Sean Walker and Jerry Marney, and now Guy Edwards is with them. But ahead it's really close at the front because there's only 6 seconds covering the first three. Dave Brodie there leading. And there is Tim Harvey. Lawrence Bristow behind him. The teammates in second and third places. Really going well. And smoke from Bristow's car. He goes off over the grass. Is he going to hit the barrier? No. Lawrence Bristow, and I suspect because there's been a lot of tyre problems that he's had one too. Anyway, Bristow looks perfectly all right. And Brodie is now coming through. Let's see where Harvey is. Look for the blue Sierra. There it is in the background. And the gap between Brodie in the lead and Harvey second, there's Brodie, is 4 seconds over the line. Dave Brodie, number 19, he's raced all over the world, Macau, South America, the Caribbean, and now he's looking a certain winner here at Thruxton. And with Bristow out, Dave Brodie leading and Harvey second. Up into third place has come Carl Jones, followed by Mike Newman, Sean Walker in fifth position and Rob Gravitt sixth. Here's the BMW brawl in Class B. Weaver, number 32, still leaving. Sittner right behind him. Out of the chicane, 70 miles an hour, up towards Allard. Now, can Frank Sittner do anything about catching and passing James Weaver? Let's look back from Weaver's BMW at Frank Sittner. Fearless Frank is charging. New class lap record, 101.1 miles an hour, and it's brought him right up to the boot lid of Weaver's BMW. And Frank's in the spare car. He rolled his race car at over 100 miles an hour in practice. So this is a really terrific drive. A bit there, but no doubt he'll be right up with us soon. He's closing on the right-hander. Now they're going to the fastest part of the course, nearly 140 miles an hour in these 2.3 litre, 320 horsepower, four-cylinder BMWs. Coming down to the chicane. They've got to go right down through the box into second gear. Brake very hard indeed. Is Sittner going to try for it at the chicane? He'll have a job because Weaver's got the inside line, and that's the one that matters. Right, left, Sittner can't get through there. Now out to complete another lap. To Allard. On come Weaver's brake lights, just a little dab. Up to the complex again. Campbell is the right-hander. Into the right-hander now. And there's a gap. And there's contact. Take that, James. And he almost spins. But Weaver still leads Class B. He's had a tremendous clout on the left-hand side of his car, and that's where he's sitting, and again Sittner is trying. And this time he goes ahead, but not for long, because Weaver is back again into Noble at over 100 miles an hour. And here is a replay. Let's see what happened. Sittner tries to take Weaver on the inside, hits the BMW hard. Weaver recovers magnificently, gets back onto the racing line and holds the lead. And up ahead, Gravitt and Marnie are battling for sixth position, and we are with Jerry Marnie. He's going for the place as they come up to the complex. He's through on the inside, Gravitt on the left. Gravitt retakes the lead because he's got the inside line at the left-hander. And he'll keep it at the right-hander, or will he? Yes, just chops across the front of Marnie's car. And there's the BMWs again. Still Weaver ahead, and a fine 8th position overall out of the complex. Continuing round the right-hander, which leads up to Noble at over 100 miles an hour, and you can see how close they are. They're accelerating hard, speeding up 125 miles an hour into the right-hander at Goodwood. That leads on to Church, where they're going even quicker, 135 miles an hour. And Frank Sittner is not giving up, and nor is James Weaver. Two very hard men, and they are both determined to win their class. Now, this is the really quick bit, and if Frank Sittner's got the momentum, he just might get through. And it looks as though he has. He's coming out of the slipstream of Weaver's car. But Weaver again has got the inside. You won't get through there, Frank. Will he? No, he won't. Weaver holds the line. Sittner has to go wide, tuck in behind the white boot lid of Weaver's BMW. And once again, James is leading as he crosses the line. Brodie ahead overall. Harvey, Jones, Newman, Walker and Gravitt is the order. Now, James Weaver has 19 points overall in the championship. Sittner, that we're riding with, has 7, and it's 9 points for a class win. Up to the complex again. And Sittner's done it again. He pushes Weaver off and takes the lead. Now, was that fair or foul? Well, there'll be a tense atmosphere in the motorhome after that, no doubt about it, because Frank Sittner is well away now, and I don't think that Weaver's going to catch him. This is the last lap for Dave Brodie. almost home for a great win, his first since 1985, with a new lap record, 105.2 miles an hour, and that would make it 3 different winners in 3 races in the championship. Frank Sidner is undoubtedly going to win Class B. He's only got to compete in a lap, but what about that passing manoeuvre? Well, you judge. Side, Weaver's got nowhere to go except off the course, but that gave Sidner the class victory. And here he is, almost home at the end of the lap. With James Weaver coming in second in the Class B. There he is, 32, but Dave Brody's race with Tim Harvey in second position. And there's Dave, his distinctive black helmet. Great victory for him. Tim Harvey in second place and Carl Jones an excellent third in the Asquith Motorsport Sierra.
Dave Brody then a surprise winner of round 3, and Rob Gravitt coming in 6th to keep his lead in Class A. Class B, though, was Sidner's revenge on Weaver, but the manner of its execution prompted quite a debate. Once again, the crowd were enthralled, James Weaver slightly less so. But compared to what had happened at Silverstone the round before, Sidner was a lot more confident of his case.
I've already heard the suggestion from someone that it was not a legitimate move. Frankly, if you watch a Formula 4 or a Formula 3 race, you're going to see much worse moves than that.
Feelings seem to be a little bit heated after Silverstone. Are they still a bit heated?
I think, well, they're not for me, but they could be for other people. You know, I've apologised for Silverstone. You know, I was definitely out of order, and I went on record as saying that I was. As far as this race was concerned, I was actually lapping usefully quicker than James. He was in a car that was difficult to handle. Mine was nice and easy, and somewhere or other, I deserved to get through.
Frank and I can sort it out man to man. I don't need to sort of complain publicly about him, and I hope he wouldn't do the same about me, but I certainly think we'll have to go and have a chat together.
Louise Aitken-Walker wins Class C. John Cleland is probably having a quiet chat with his pit crew. The time lost by the championship leader when he punctured couldn't be regained, but it was still another good result for Vauxhall and the 16-valve Astra. Louise Aitken-Walker winning the class and making the transition from rallying to racing.
Well, it's a 30-minute sprint, you know, the cars all round you. It's a bit different from the trees. At least the trees don't move. The cars bump into you here.
5 runners also in Class D, led home by Phil Dowsett's Toyota Corolla GT, Tony Dolly in second. More useful points for Dowsett that put him in sight of John Cleland and James Weaver.